Hello, third grade. I want to celebrate something with you today. It is a new year of writing. Have you ever celebrated New Year's before? Like, I'm talking about when it's the new calendar year. I wonder. Maybe you went to a party, maybe you watched TV and counted down until we got to midnight, and then it was a new calendar year. Maybe you did it this past New Year, right? So, this is a new school year, and it's also a new year of writing. So, you are now third grade writers. And I want you today to think about what you think that's going to look like. Because we're going to set what's called a resolution. You might have heard people when it is a new year, like a new calendar year, like 2020, say, my resolution for this year is to exercise more, or my resolution for this year is to read more, things like that. So I wonder if you could think right now, what do I think that word means? What do I think it means to say that I'm making a resolution? So when we say resolution, we mean like a goal. So you're going to set a goal for yourself for third grade as a writer. What would you like? What is the goal for third grade writing for you? Okay, so now that might be a little hard for you to think about because you're like, well, third grade just started. Maybe I'm not sure. And that's fine. I'm going to show you an example of it's a really good example of a third grader's writing notebook, right? Because writing workshop starts with a notebook. You might have a notebook already at home that you plan on using. If you do, that's fine. If you do not, don't worry, because I have writing notebooks for you guys. They're in your supply bags that you can pick up from West End tomorrow. All right, so let's check out this great example of a third grade writing notebook. Oh, my bad. There we go. All right. So we're looking at, this is from a third grader named, we'll just call her Rebecca. All right, I'm going to pause the video in a little bit. And what, or you know what, I'm sorry, my bad. Okay, first I'll read. Nothing. And this over here tells me that she wrote this on September 10th. I peered into my bag. Nothing. No gym tights. No leotard. I felt tears welling up in my eyes. I thought back. Yes, no. Yes, I hadn't put in my leotard back in the bag. I jerked down my head and pulled my t-shirt over my school tights. No, it didn't look nearly like the leotard that had been so comfortable. I wore it until bed. Now my class was going to start in 5 minutes, and I had nothing to wear. I'm noticing some things. I'm really noticing a lot of things that this writer has done in her notebook, and I wonder if you are too. I wonder what is sticking out to you. All right, I'm going to give you some time to think about what is sticking out to you right now. All right, you can write it down. If you don't have a notebook yet, you can just think it. All right, what is sticking out to you? I'm going to give you one more minute. So I'm going to, let's see. on my online stopwatch. Okay, 1 more minute to jot down just some things that you're noticing. We'll hear it. You have about 20 more seconds. You have 10 more seconds. All right, good job. See how I used a new tab, just like we have to do a lot when we do things on Zoom? You can just press that little plus sign to go where you need to be, or you could just minimize out of Zoom and go to the internet, whatever works for you. All right, so okay, so now we're back. And I want to point out some things I noticed. I know you probably noticed some things as well. That is fine, of course. All right. So, what I noticed up here is that she had a title, right? She had a title to whatever this, it's called a notebook entry when you write something in a notebook. She had a title for her entry. She also had a date, so she had some really good ways to organize her writing. Now, I know it's hard because I'm not live with you right now. So I'm also going to think about now what's in here, right? The meat of what she's writing. She really did a great job of explaining how she was feeling, right? She used a lot of details. She had a very good descriptions, right? I felt tears welling up in my eyes. I jerked down my head and pulled my t-shirt over my tights. Like, it was really easy for me to see what was happening in my mind. And it wasn't even my entry or my story, right? Okay. So now I want us to continue to think about that. And let's look at one more entry, okay? We're going to look at one more entry. Okay, my bad, guys. I can't get this other entry to load. All right. So again, technology, not always perfect. So what I'm going to have you do is think about this entry. Think about Rebecca's entry. And I want you now, when you go to your assignment for writing workshop, so this is September 14th, 914, Unit 1, Lesson 1. Then you solve this. This is your notebook entry for today. If you do not have a notebook right now, then you can use this Google Doc. Now I want you to write down some ideas of things that you think third grade notebook writers do, so we can use Rebecca's example to help us find these things, and some things that you think they don't do, okay? Because we're going to have a chart just like that in our classroom, all right? So I'm going to give you some time now to do that, okay? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. So I'm setting my timer up here for 5 minutes. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, okay? And if you need more time, then I'll have you pause and give yourself more time. All right? It's a little difficult sometimes for me to think of how much time you guys need when you're not right in front of me. So I'm doing the best I can, all right? So I'm giving you this time in 3, 2, 1, go. So real quick, actually, when you go to this lesson, you have the Google Doc. So if you're using that, then you click on it and you're going to type inside. But you also, this file here, when you click on the link, this is Rebecca's notebook entry. So if you want to go back and look at it, then you can do so using this link. Okay? All right, keep going. All right, so if you are not done filling in your chart yet, then you can pause this video. All right, so I'm going to show you what the chart looks like when we put ideas all together from the live session, okay? So I know if you're watching this, you weren't here for the live session. That's okay. Here we go. What third grade notebook writers do and don't. They fill their notebooks with true stories that tell what the writer did first, next, and after. They put the date on each page. Have the people in the stories talk. Write lots of sentences. They tell if writing in home or school. They write about 1 page each day. So about means maybe not all the time 1 page, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but close to it. Ooh, punctuation. Yes, I like that. Now here's what they don't do. Just write one kind of story. No. Doodle or draw pictures. Much. So what that's saying is that there will be times where you draw pictures, but at this point, third grade writers, our notebooks don't have as many pictures as we used to because we're working, like Rebecca did, on helping our readers make the picture of what's happening in their brain. We do not skip pages. We know that, right? We have to save the trees. We don't write too messy. Absolutely not. Erase too much. Absolutely not. And of course we don't trash the notebook. I know that you guys know that. Okay. So now we're thinking back to resolutions. So now we have this idea of what third grade notebook writers do and don't, right? So what third grade notebook writers do and don't. So now it's your chance to make your resolution. I'll give you something else that will help you out, okay? I'll show you something else that might help you with this. So you have here this grade 2 writing checklist. And you might be thinking, why do we have that? Because we're in third grade now. Well, this checklist explains what at the end of second grade you wanted to be able to say, oh, I do this. Yes, I do this. Or maybe, right, your goal is you want to have all yeses. But it's also important that you be honest though. And if you're not there quite yet, if you're not there yet, like at all, like, ooh, I'm not as close as I want to be, then you check in there. If you're starting to do something, like doing it a little bit of the time. So this is like no or hardly ever. This is sometimes, and this is like, yeah, I do that all the time. So these are things that if you don't already do, or you're not already starting to do, then maybe you could make your goal or resolution about that. So like I wrote about one time I did something when I write about a narrative. Yeah, because we know a narrative is one story, right? So we write about one time. I thought about how to write a good beginning and I chose a way to start my story. I chose the action, talk, or setting that would make a good beginning. Ooh. if I just kind of start writing and I said I'm not there yet, maybe my writing resolution would be to work on this. I want to work on how I lead in my writing, how I use leads. Okay, so you can look at this to help you. All right, you don't have to pick leads. That was just one example, right? Because you're not saying what Miss Hazel's writing goal should be. You're saying what your writing goal or resolution should be. Okay. Okay, so if you go back to, let's see, to the assignment and you click on notebook entry, then you might have noticed that down here it says, my New Year's writing resolution is blank. So if you typed in this Google Doc, I want you to also type your New Year's resolution in here. If you did not type in your Google Doc, if you wrote it down somewhere, that is also fine. But what I want you to do is I want you to comment on this lesson, okay? I want you to comment on this lesson and tell me what your writing resolution is, okay? That is how you will share it with me because I'm not here with you live, right? This is a pre-recorded video. So you could either put it on this Google Doc. So you could either turn this in with your assignment. You click turn in. If you use the Google Doc, you click turn in to share this with me. If you wrote it, I want you to comment on this assignment. This is my New Year's writing resolution, okay? All right. So I want you to, again, think about what you need to work on, okay? And that's going to help us become better writers this year, okay? All right, thank you for joining me for this lesson. I hope that I'll see you later today. If not, I will see you tomorrow.